pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Karen, if you take the roll call.
Commissioner Anger.
Here.
Commissioner Blanes.
Here.
Commissioner Kalani.
Here.
Commissioner McNeil.
Yep.
Commissioner Soa.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
You went through that so fast, I have a question.
sure.
We've got a new agenda tonight, is it?
The only difference is
Is it the
that,
one that's been noticed?
yeah, the only difference is that the executive session was canceled.
Oh,
So. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. We are on action item number 1, resolution 08217, recommending restoring recreational immunity rights. Did you want to do a presentation, or are we going to go right into it?
Why don't you do a motion first? I'll do a quick
Okay.
presentation and then.
Do I have a
A
motion?
motion?
Yeah.
I move that Clackamas River Water Board adopt resolution 092017. Nope.
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 Agenda item 1.
Agenda item 1,
Agenda item 1.
yeah,
So a little different. But this one.
yeah.
Move to approve the resolution 08-2017 recommending restoring recreational immunity rights.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Real brief staff report. We've talked about this a couple of times. This is actually just taking a formal stance as far as adopting the resolution in support of SDAO, Special Districts Association of Oregon, and a number of other organizations that are trying to restore the recreational immunity issue. This is an issue that Commissioner So is very familiar with since he was involved with it when it was initially approved in the legislature. This is in response to a recent Supreme Court case that makes district worker or people who work for public agencies liable, which then is a way to pull the different public agencies in, because then you have to identify your staff. So it's a way to get around the recreational immunity that we're trying to fix.
So they have language for a bill that's going to try to introduce at the legislature to fix
Yeah,
this?
there's actually 2 bills that have been introduced, one on the House side, one on the Senate
So
side,
they're-
that is already moving through the
Okay, good.
process.
Are there any other questions or comments before we take a vote? Okay, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay. We're up to action item number 2, resolution 09217, appointment to Budget Committee for the biennium 2017-2019.
Want a motion?
Yes, please.
I move that the Clackamas River Water Board adopt resolution 09-2017 appointing the Budget Committee citizen members for the biennium 2017-2019.
Second.
Do you want to present it?
Sure. Just briefly, we appointed 2 budget committee members at the last meeting, and there was a 3rd applicant that I have not yet heard back from. I have since heard from that applicant, Cheryl French, and she is still interested and enthusiastic about serving on the budget committee, and so I'm asking the board at this time to appoint Cheryl to the budget committee.
Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Opposed?
We're voting on the Budget Committee.
Oh, the
I
budget.
don't.
Okay.
This is the extra person. Okay, it passes. Okay. And 3rd item is the first reading of ORD 01-217 by title only, rates, fees, and charges.
So this is the first reading. It's ordinance 01-2017, an ordinance of the Clackamas River Water Board of Commissioners establishing rates, fees, and charges for services. If the board recalls, last year we converted all of our fees and charges to an ordinance process rather than a resolution process. And this ordinance updates that there's a few minor changes, and that ordinance will be in effect until we update it again in a year. The items that we are changing is that we have, we're asking to increase the maximum deposit for our utility account holders from $200 to $300. That is partially due to the rate increases. The $200 doesn't necessarily cover a sufficient amount if somebody moves out of the district and doesn't pay their final bill. We only charge deposits on accounts that display delinquency problems, so it's not like everybody that calls up to get service starts paying a deposit. But if you've been on the shut-off list twice, you get charged a $40 deposit, and then each additional time after that, an additional $10. We had a maximum of $200, and we'd like to increase that. We also go back and review all of our customers that have deposits, and if they have a clean payment history for 2 years, then we will apply that deposit to their account.
So I have a question. So you just refund that money back to them after they've satisfied that 2-year good credit thing, or do we slowly meet that money back out? And
If they have 2 years of a clean account, then we actually put a credit on their account. So if
so
they
you stop
have,
getting a bill instead of.
if they have like a $60 deposit on file, and now they have a clean record for 2 years and they get a bill for $80, we'll credit $60 of that. They still owe us $20, they'll continue to get future bills, but we're not holding money on their behalf anymore.
So I'm confused. Where's the $300?
Well, that's a maximum that we collect. So we start at 40.
Oh, I see.
And then we go increments of 10. And we do have a few customers that are at that $200 limit, but we have also had customers that maybe even weren't in the system long enough to get a deposit, that when they leave, they've got a $250 or a $300 bill. So in an effort to avoid sending those to collections and having some money to pay off those final balances, we feel that 300 is a more appropriate number at this time.
Do we have a motion?
No, we
It's
don't.
only-
This
it's
is
only the
the
first reading.
first reading. So,
Yeah, but you gotta have a motion
We don't have a motion for the first
to
reading.
read it by
no.
title only. That's what the motion is.
I don't know.
Did we do that last time?
I
Yes,
don't know.
haven't.
Actually, I believe that's correct.
Is it true?
A
I thought so
motion
too,
made
but.
by-
All right.
Yeah, and we
Apologize.
didn't do that.
So we have, we do
So I
have
can
a
read it,
motion.
but yes, I can make
Okay.
a motion by title only.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I move that we accept the settlement, no, that's the wrong one.
Oh, it's agenda item
3.
3.
Just move that we read ordinance 0117.
Yeah, right, I just trying to get their ordinance number. Do I have that? So, agenda item 4, oh, there it is, okay.
It's a first reading,
There we
right?
go.
We have to do, go ahead.
Okay, so I move that we, so I'm looking for the title. Where is it? So it would be
On
what?
the subject, so in the subject line, so you just say, I move that we conduct a first reading of ordinance 01-2017.
Okay.
To adopt proposed rates.
So that's what I was looking for, what the number is. So it's twos, so what is the number?
01, so it's in the subject line, ordinance
Very top line.
01-2017.
See right under the date right
Yeah, but there's no number there. I need the number.
there.
We're looking at
Because
that.
you're on agenda number 4, I think you're supposed to be on 3.
Yes.
You're on the
3.
wrong-
Oh, that's what I was asking. There we go, that'll help.
Okay,
Okay, so make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 01-2017 by title only.
Second.
all in favor?
No,
Opposed?
we gotta have a second. And
I had
Oh, yeah, I think that Commissioner
Now
Kalani,
we have to read the
well,
resolution by
I will-
title
okay,
only.
go ahead.
So this is the first reading of ordinance 01-2017, an ordinance of the Clackamas River Water Board of Commissioners establishing rates, fees, and charges for services.
How many readings do we do?
We do 2 readings.
Okay,
We'll do the next one at the April meeting, and it cannot be effective until 30 days after that reading.
okay, so we're gonna vote on it in April?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the time that we oppose the resolution. We're just reading it now.
oh, I see, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm still confused. How does the $300, I mean, so every month you collect a little bit more money than they owe for a deposit?
Every time, so initially, when they're on the shut-off list twice, they pay a $40 deposit.
Okay, so that's the trigger to start generating the deposit.
And then anytime they're on the shut-off list after that, we collect an additional $10. So it can take a long time to get up to the $300.
I see, okay, I was trying to figure out where the $300 thing came from.
But we have some long-term customers.
Clarification.
We're having
Who
problems.
do they extract the money from?
The customer.
Everybody?
No, just the ones that are on the delinquent or the water shut-off list. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to understand too, is where does that come from?
And it does take a while to get up to that balance, but we do have customers that have reached that threshold.
So what I was concerned about was all of a sudden they get a $300 bill for not paying their water bill. If they can't pay their water bill, they're not gonna pay the $300.
Yeah, and that is true, which is why we use the smaller increments.
Yeah,
Because at the same time, they're paying a shut-off fee as well.
yeah, sure.
So, the second change that we've made in the fees and charges is last year, when I came to the board, we knew that Happy Valley was going to have a right-of-way usage fee, but we didn't know what our amount was going to be. So once we determined that the amount that we would pay to Happy Valley would be $5,000, we divided that over all of the bills for the year, and that adds 7 cents to every bi-monthly bill. So we currently charge 25 cents every bi-monthly bill for the Oregon City right-of-way usage fee, and now we're adding an additional 7 cents for the Happy Valley right-of-way usage fee. So every bill throughout the district gets a 32-cent right-of-way usage fee. We pay that money to the cities of Happy Valley and the city of Oregon City. And in my calculations, we're coming in really close to, at least as far as the amount that we bill and the amount that we have to pay out.
Yeah, those increase automatically by about 3%, don't they, annually?
The Oregon City one does. The Happy Valley one does not have an automatic increase.
Oh, okay.
So does that for all customers?
Yes,
Okay, so not just the customers that are in those city boundaries?
correct.
That was a decision you made to spread it over everybody's, because there was a question whether or not we should just charge the south customers for the Oregon City one, and then we ended up with the one in Happy Valley. Or
Right.
should we just charge them? No, it's one water district.
Okay, well, it's probably better that way, since it's such a small amount of money, nobody will complain. Yes?
Oh, sure they will.
Oh, we hear from some.
Oh, sure they will. What do you mean?
Commissioner Saul? Did you have something, you were gonna say something?
Yes, I'll support today the motion to get the proposed fee increases into the works, but there's no way that I'll support those fee increases whenever we have the second reading.
Okay. Well, put on notice.
So the third change that we have is, we have an ordinance for our cross connection. That's our backflow devices that keep other water from encroaching into our system. And looking at that ordinance, we determined at this time it would be a good idea to put the associated fees that are in that other ordinance into this fee and charges ordinance, which includes a late testing compliance fee, a disconnect penalty, and a non-compliance penalty that is pretty significant. We need to protect our water supply, and if people won't have their backflow devices tested or don't have them hooked up correctly, that could jeopardize the water quality in the whole system. So that has been added.
The back, does everybody have a backflow? Where is
For
this?
sprinklers.
sprinklers,
If
thank
you
you.
have an irrigation,
I just
yeah.
have one for you.
Yeah, if you have an
so-
irrigation system, if you have a fire service
Yeah,
that
fire
could be
service,
connected.
there's lots of reasons.
Yeah.
you know.
If you have a well on your property that maybe has an interconnection with our water system, then all of those would require that backflow device.
Okay,
On this disconnect penalty fee, is that if you fail to comply with the testing component of it?
Yes.
Or how long is that period of time before the 100 hits?
We give them quite a few notices. First, we send out the annual notice, time to get it checked. Then we send out a second, and I believe it's about the third notice that, and we reach out, we try to contact the customers individually. Since I've been here, I don't believe we have turned anybody off for that reason. Although we did have a customer that was shut off for non-payment and discovered that they should have had a backflow device, and we did not turn them back on until they got that problem resolved as well. And then we have some minor changes to vehicles. We've had vehicles that we have surplus, so we've removed those from the list, and we have added vehicles and put in their rental rates. We do not rent our vehicles out to the public. This is simply a method for charging the cost of our service. So if we're installing a new meter for someone and our staff drives a truck there to do that, we can charge that hourly rate for the truck as well as any materials they use and the hourly rate of the staff. It just gives us a basis for the cost of the service.
So you said you charge it, what do you charge it to? Is it just a,
Well, we charge it to the end, so if I'm a private person saying, hey, I need a new service here, then we calculate the cost of installing that service and I would pay that. We do have, some like private developments, big developments, and we accumulate all of those costs.
isn't that included in the meter fee and the SDC?
But the meter fee is a time, materials, and overhead.
Oh, it is?
Yes, SDCs is separate, and then the meter install is time, materials, and
So,
overhead.
okay, so there's not just a flat rate for a meter?
Correct.
Yeah.
There is for a drop-in, it's $500, if we're gonna do a drop-in, it's $500. But if we have to do a dig-in, like a new install, and there's no meter box in place. So if the developer puts the meter box in place, it's called a drop-in, and that's a fairly quick and easy, and we don't calculate the actual cost.
So the developer or homeowner would provide their tagged water line to their house approved by the AHJ and an approved meter box, and then, well, but, so if there's not a.
Jump in if
so
I
there's not
misspeak.
a stub out, will you charge them for picking it all the way back and making the tap on the main?
If there's no service, that's time and material and
Oh, it is,
overhead.
okay.
If the service is pre-run
Uh-huh.
and it'd be a meter box with an angle stop,
Mhm.
then it's a drop-in fee, which is the $500,
Right.
where we set a meter and a pigtail or tailpiece off the back of the meter. Then the customer runs the line from the house to the end of the pigtail. We keep them out of the meter box, no offense to our customers.
I'm not quite sure. So if like, for instance, somebody was on my street and there was a new house being built. Are they paying $500 then to start their water service because that house has never been there?
A lot more than that.
I'm not.
They'll pay the system development charges, and they will also pay for the installation.
I see, okay, because
And there's a couple of ways that can happen, the easy way or the hard way, and the easy way is 500, and the hard way is time, materials, and overhead.
Oh, I see, okay. But a lot of times, you're buying a house that somebody's already lived in like we did, so I never saw those charges.
Somebody pays that.
Somebody, yeah, it's already
Before
been
you-
paid.
It's been paid for whoever
Yeah.
originally lived in the house,
Right.
okay? I just,
And so the final,
I've never moved into a brand new house because.
Would want you to pay.
Chairman, in our packet, we have the old fee, new fee, and what the percentage of increase is. I couldn't find that today, and
because there were minimum changes, we did put this document in there, and which shows just the changes, and everything else stays the same. We do have in the booklet of all the fees. We show what the new water rates will be, and those water rates were approved by resolution by the board 4 years ago. And that we've also got an increase in the SDC rate of 2.16%, which is based on the engineer news record rates, and that is the methodology that was approved in the original ordinance in 1999.
I don't think you understood the question, and maybe you answered and I didn't hear it. I want to know what the percentage of increase over the old rate to the new rate, and if they're brand new fees, then that would be 100%. If you supply them with that.
Okay, we can get that information.
Anything else?
Yep, those are all the changes that are associated with that ordinance.
Okay, great. So we're up to action item number 4, memorandum of understanding settlement agreement with Oregon City for joint user payment. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't hear a vote on that motion.
Oh, you're right. All in favor of the first, I thought did we not do? Okay.
We did a vote.
Maybe no.
Maybe not. You're probably right, Larry. Okay, all in favor of the first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. So we're on to action item number 4, memorandum of understanding settlement agreement with Oregon City for joint user payment.
I move that the Clackamas River Water Board approves the MOU settlement agreement with Oregon City for joint user payments and authorize the general manager to sign the memorandum of understanding.
Second.
Okay, we'll have a presentation and then we'll vote.
Okay. This is related to the joint user accounts, and we've discussed this with the board as part of the supplemental budget and as well at a work session. So we have joint users, CRW bills those customers, the water is actually supplied by Oregon City. And neither Oregon City nor CRW realized that payments had not been made for a period of time, so we're going back and catching up with those payments. In my discussions with the finance director for the city of Oregon City, we looked at the joint user agreement, which had a wheeling charge that I felt was pretty high based on other charges that we pay to Oregon City for moving water. So the finance director and I agreed that we could use that other rate, which is about 40 cents for wheeling, instead of what's in the joint user agreement of 89 cents. So this memorandum of understanding identifies that the amount that we're going to pay to get everything caught up and at what rate. And then it also provides that going forward, starting with January activity of this year, we will be paying the 0.8932 cents as the wheeling charge,
Instead of the .4.
instead of the
0.013.
0.4031 or 2.
Yeah.
So we are also agreeing to go in on a joint rate study to determine what the real wheeling charge should be. And Oregon City wants to hire FCS Group, and we have used with FCS Group for some of our rate analysis as well. The benefit we get from joining with Oregon City on this rate study for the wheeling charges is it ensures that we get to talk to FCS Group and remind them of what assets are jointly owned by us. Because there are some pipes that we paid for half of, there's some other infrastructure that we own part of it. And when they calculate that wheeling charge, that will be taken into consideration. That it's not like, oh, Oregon City water moving through this pipe, then Oregon City gets X amount. It's like, well, they get half of X amount.
Yeah.
So that we get the benefit of making sure that FCS Group has all of the information about the joint assets as well as how the water's moving through the system. So that's the two components of this MOU. We're gonna pay the outstanding balance. We're gonna go forward paying at the rate that's in the joint joint user agreement.
Okay.
And we're gonna recalculate a new rate going forward that will take effect as soon as that's done. We've also asked in the MOU that that rate that we start with that rate as soon as possible and have it actually calculated by June 30th, so that starting with the new fiscal year, we know the rate that we'll be paying.
Are there any other any
I
questions?
got a
Yes.
question. Now, it seems to me before I came on the board that there was some sort of a court hearing or something about the rate that Oregon City was charging at that time.
That was South Fork Water Board. And so we had the settlement agreement with South Fork Water Board about the wholesale rate that we would pay to them for that water. So this is a different agreement
Separate.
with a different entity.
Okay.
There's actually several lawsuits. So there's that one, there's this one, and then there's the one that we have the Wahoo study that's gonna figure out.
It was
That,
actually, yeah.
yeah, that came out of an agreement
Yeah.
of a lawsuit that they were filing against us on that rate, so.
I failed to mention that we have a slightly updated MOU.
Right.
It's pretty similar, but we just had a few things to clarify between Oregon City and ourselves, and that was in your folder. And I think there was in agreement item number 4, we took out the language about every 5 years doing a new rate study, simply because the joint user agreement expires in 2020, so we're gonna have a whole new agreement, and in that new agreement, we will put some kind of periodic review of the rates.
So that I'm clear, so isn't this just Utel Road? Or are there
This-
other areas that are,
There are other areas, that is, Util Road is included in that area, but there's like a whole little neighborhood, and then there's some more over here, and then we have one joint user, one sole joint user over by Clackamas Community College.
okay,
but-
so there's more than just that stuff
Yeah.
that we, okay, clear
Yes.
on that, okay.
So I have a question, this FCS group, is that a consultant that you're both using? What?
Yes, FCS Group is a rate-setting consultant.
Okay.
They're based out of Washington, but they also have offices in Oregon. We have used them in the past to help set both the wholesale rate that we charge to Sunrise as well as the retail rates that are part of that 8-year plan that we've got. Oregon City had used another consulting firm, which I think has kind of disappeared. You know, their primary consultant went off to do something else, so, you know, there's not as many options out there in the market. When we hired FCS Group, we did do a competitive process and selected them from the 2 responses that we got.
Oh, okay.
And this is a relatively small dollar amount, I believe. Oregon City's thing, it's gonna be about 20,000, so our share would be $10,000.
Okay, thank you.
Is this the same consultant that we had, what, 3 or 4 years ago?
Angie
Same
and
amount.
Sergey, and
Yeah.
they have other consultants as well, but yes.
So one more thing, just in full disclosure, on, as far as the changes to the new MOU that you have, note that there is the 4th whereas is something that Oregon City asked us to add, and it just simply points out that this MOU only applies to what we've been talking about, the joint users agreement. And then the only other change is on the agreed part, provision 2, it just took out some language that said set forth in the joint user agreement and just refers to the number. So it's just a clarification. So those were the only other changes.
So I have one last question.
Sure.
So the chunk of money, I forgot, where does that come from?
We included that in the supplemental budget.
Oh, you did, okay,
And it
that's
will
what I
be part of our water purchases expense.
Okay.
But it was included in the supplemental budget, so we are fine as far as budgetary.
Any other questions? In that case, we're going to vote on the memorandum of understanding. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. Okay, we're up to action item number 5, approval of the contract with Cascade Building Service for janitorial services.
So good evening. The reason this is, oh, I'm sorry.
Let's do the
You need to do
resolution
the
first,
motion
I guess.
Sorry.
which would be,
I move to approve the Cascade Building Services janitorial services contract for a not to exceed amount of $64,000 per fiscal year and authorize the general manager to sign the contract.
Second.
okay, go ahead.
So the reason this is before you this evening is because this is an amount that exceeds my signature authority, and so the board gets to approve this. Our current agreement for janitorial services expires at the end of this month, and so we conducted a competitive process in getting bids from 3 qualified janitorial services. We've got a whole range, anywhere from the little more than 75,000 to the current bid that's in front of you from Cascade Building Services. This is for all of our facilities, as far as the admin building, the park restrooms, and the system operations facilities as well. Not the treatment plant.
So, in the bid process, Vance, do we background check these folks?
Yes, we can back it.
And then they have their own bond?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And they've been known to treat their employees well. I guess there's not, I don't know how one knows that or not.
Yeah,
but-
so we did include in the packet, yeah.
Well, janitorial services is hard work. I just
Oh, I know,
wouldn't
but
want
I-
to hire somebody
Care
who's not
about that.
treating their employees well.
We can make sure that they've been background checked and
Yes.
bonded, and we're done.
Yeah, we did try to put some information about the company
Okay.
behind that to give you some, their profile, and they've been in business for quite a while, and they're a well-established
Okay.
company.
Good. Any other questions, comments? In that case, we're gonna have a vote. All in favor of the contract with Cascade Building Janitorial Services, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, passes.
Can I have a question?
Yes,
I
sorry.
thought your signing authority was $70,000,
Only on capital,
only on capital, 50,000.
50 on,
I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you.
70, yeah, it's 75.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we're up to the consent agenda. I suppose, let's see. We'll just have a motion to approve the consent agenda, and then we'll have the presentation by Don, and then we'll vote. No?
Yeah, well, you don't have,
You
so
don't
if
have
you'd
to.
like to have a presentation by Don,
We don't have to.
I would prefer that you probably pull that from the consent agenda, and you can just do
So
it.
what are we pulling?
Approve MOU with Portland Water Bureau for decommissioning
Oh,
pump
okay.
station at the Otter Reservoir. Did you want me just to add it to the, somebody give me a
Unless
motion for the
Yeah,
consent
here you
agenda.
go, I'll get you.
There you go.
I move to approve items CA1 and CA2 only of the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, good job.
So are we gonna do the consent agenda number?
No,
No, or are we taking that off?
No, we need to, I
Okay.
need your approval of that. MOU.
Okay, so somebody give me,
so you're gonna just put it into the regular stuff?
Yeah, sorry.
I thought it was just going away.
So no, so we'll need a motion to
Yeah, go
approve
ahead
the
and do another
consent
motion.
item. on
Yeah,
the-
so I move to approve consent agenda item CA3.
Second.
okay,
So just as a quick brief background, we have a pump station that City of, or Portland Water Bureau owns all the facilities inside of it. It's been deteriorating. They have kind of reviewed it. They've decided they really don't want it or interested. It would enable them to pump water from CRW into the Portland Water Bureau system. So they've put together this MOU asking to cooperatively work to decommission that facility. We have asked where we would still maintain the flanges, and so you could bring in a portable pumping unit in a sense of an emergency, but frankly, it's our building, but they own the pumps and stuff, and instead of repairing it, they would just rather clean it up, and we would demolish everything, but just leave the flanges there.
So I'm confused.
Okay,
We
now.
had
we're
a lengthy
on.
conversation about how important it was to be able to pump bidirectionally on that intertie line. What changed?
I'm sorry, this is the last part.
Yes, so we had, what, 2 years ago, we had a lengthy conversation about the importance of being able to pump bidirectionally on that intertie between Powell Butte and here. And it was a big deal, and now it's not, so what's different?
We've spent a lot of time with Portland talking about this intertie and the capabilities there. We went in and we inspected the pump station, they inspected the pumps and the motors, and they were unwilling to invest any money, time, labor, or equipment to bring that pump station back up to an operational level. It was put in 94, 95, and their logic was with the well fields, they have just 4 million gallons is a drop in a bucket for them. And so, working with their operations manager, we both agreed that leaving the flanges just in case was the best option rather than trying to restore the building. The roof was shot, buildings really just needs to be torn down and got out there. So we are leaving the flanges, and they're set up. They can bring in an emergency pump generator and pump water if they needed to. And they were, that was the preferred approach. They made the decision.
Because there's a building these flanges are held in right now, and we're gonna destroy that building?
Yeah, the building was built in 94.
Okay, are we gonna have anything to protect those flanges? There's gonna be some sort of a cage over it so nobody messes
Be
with it?
working with Bob George we're gonna leave the slab, and then what they're gonna do is cap flanges just above ground level. And then we'll put some type of a box around them just to protect them, make sure that we're painted, make sure nobody trips over, but yeah, they will be protected. So,
I'm interested in light of the fact that they're sucking no water today off the Bull Run, but it's their gig.
It's their gig.
It's their gig, I don't care.
Any other questions or comments? In that case, we'll have a vote. All in favor of consent agenda 3, please say aye.
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 Any nays?
no.
Oh, what?
No.
Please, no? We have 1 no, so it passes 4 to 1. Okay, we're up to management report.
All right, agenda item 6 includes my manager's report, but I just want to highlight a couple things. One, Commissioner Klein and Commissioner Andrew had a chance to participate in some of the Special Districts Association of Oregon conference that was recently held in Portland. One of the things that came out of that was SDAO has a water-only representative on the board, and that person was elected again with Dan Bradley. I also serve on the SDAO board, but I serve as an at-large member representing the large 6 types of special districts. I've noted some outreach activities that I've been involved with this last month. As far as communications type items, you have your monthly update that's been in your folder that gives you some statistics as far as some of the stuff that we've accomplished this year, or this last month, excuse me. On the next page is water quality. All the results are good, so that's good news. I thought I would highlight, you've heard a lot about cryptosporidium in the news as it relates to the Bull Run supply. That is something that we do sample for them, and is actually part of the sampling program that the federal government has us do. Good news, we haven't found it, and so, and plus we have treatment in place if we were to find it. So all things are good, and our customers should be are getting a helpful product. So,
So do you test for crypto pre-treatment?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
And actually both pre and
Yeah,
post.
right,
But yes, pre.
In order to
Yep.
get.
As far as emergency management update, last month we talked how we were collecting information as part of the Clackamas County damage assessment program. We did find out that the county didn't meet the threshold required to qualify for federal disaster relief. So We will not be getting any reimbursement associated with that. And then just also note, I'm gonna be out of office from March 24th through April 1st, so Carol Bright will be my acting in capacity while I'm out of the office. Some additional items I want to note is, I think Karen may have talked to you a little bit, but there's on March 22nd, the North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce will be holding its State of the City's address. And it's a lunch that if you're interested in attending on behalf of CRW, please let Karen know. They give us a free ticket to participate. Also, we talked a little bit about the budget committee tour. We have a couple brand new budget committee members, so we'll be giving them a tour on Friday, March 17th. If you're interested in attending, please contact Karen on that. One thing that happened since the report is the Regional Water Providers Consortium, even though they didn't have a technical committee meeting, they did meet, and I thought there were some things to note. One is March 20th through 26th is Fix a Leak Week, and so you're gonna see some additional media that the consortium is working on that's been focused more on indoor. Their media partner this year is KGW, Channel 8 in Portland, and so you'll see some news stories associated with fixing leaks and more of an indoor focus. As part of the Fix the Leak Week, the consortium also has a promotion where any of its members' customers can contact them and get free leak kits. And so the kits include kitchen and bathroom aerators, shower timers, shower head, and a variety of other devices that people can use for indoor use. And so those are available to anyone as supplies last.
Where do you get these exactly?
So if you go to the Regional Water Providers Consortium website, which is conserveh2o.org,
Okay.
they can do that.
Oh, and then they would have where to pick it up, okay.
Yeah. So we had one item from our last work session that we needed to follow up with the board on. There was a question about the number of CRW accounts that are within the urban growth boundary yet outside of Oregon City. And so we've done a rough, I'm not gonna stake my life on the exact number, but the rough number is about 600 existing CRW accounts that are within that area, so.
Between the current city limit and the urban growth boundary?
Correct.
Okay. 600?
Yep.
Oh, more than I thought there was. It's hard to have a reference to what the impact is gonna be if you don't know what that number is.
Yep.
You can't correlate it to
No,
anything.
that's good question. Probably the next week or so, you're gonna hear more in the news about infrastructure, and a lot of that's being motivated by the American Society of Civil Engineers has issued their 2017 infrastructure report card today. And so the challenge is that as a nation, I think we got a D+, and if you look at water infrastructure nationally, the grade that was given is a D. I've included some of the language from the report in your folder. I think the important thing to note, though, is it's really focused on investments in infrastructure. It's not indicating that water systems and water providers are doing a poor job in providing the customers water. It's just trying to point out that the investment in improvements to infrastructure is lagging behind the need. And so they have a bunch of information illustrated with that. You know, frankly, this is one of these things that makes me appreciate the actions that CRW has taken in the past and the board has taken as far as establishing kind of a rate schedule so that we can be investing in our infrastructure. Some of the things like the backbone project all help kind of get at this issue as well.
But our buried infrastructure is hard to sell.
Yep.
Because there's such a huge out of sight, out of mind problem. And that's, you know, PG is getting ready to, well, they've asked for 6.5% increase in power. Probably end up somewhere around 4.5 and 5. But that impacts us huge because one of those things is hard to push. So.
Yeah, they, of course, drinking water is just one of a number of different infrastructures. They go through airports, bridges, roads, all of that. So it's very rail, all that. So it's a pretty interesting report. You've already noticed you have folders, and so that we're gonna try something a little bit different. Where Karen's put these together to highlight information that you'll want to make sure that you take with you. Because it might have information about future meetings, or it has information that we reference at the meeting tonight. So, and then the last item is just speaking on things that are coming up. I just wanted to remind you that there's a Clackamas Regional Water Supply Commission meeting on Monday. We still have one more agenda item associated with designating an additional board member to represent CRW at the CRWSC, and so, but as far as Monday, it's a fairly light agenda. They talk about the audits, report on that. Sunrise is also has a new board representative to the commission, and so then that is also created on their side a vacancy as it relates to the secretary position. So that would be something that will need to be filled. And then, yeah, that's. So it's a fairly light agenda.
Now, we've been out, so does that include dinner? I just need to know. Forget.
At 4 o'clock, I don't think
The
so.
meeting starts at 4, and
So
it's a pretty light
Probably
agenda.
not,
so-
No.
probably not.
You'll probably be done by 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, no problem.
So I'm confused. What's this agenda item 8 that's stapled to the
Oh, we
reimbursement
haven't-
stuff?
We're gonna get there.
Oh, we're not there
That's-
yet.
yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
We're on number 6.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
It was on the original.
It's not on here. That's why I'm worried about whether it was noted.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Under number 8,
yeah.
letter
Yeah,
A.
Letter A. In fact, we're gonna come up to that right now. Is there any other, before that, was there any other public comment? Okay, so we're up to commissioner business, and besides commissioner reports and reimbursements that are in your packet, we also have a CRWSC board vacancy. So, does anybody, I've had, there's 2 possibilities of people that might want to. Commissioner Sulla, did you want to be on this? 'Cause
Pardon?
did you want to be on the CRWSC committee?
No, I'll let Bill,
Okay. Okay. So, Bill, Wenzel?
So you need a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I move to nominate Commissioner Bill
Lannis.
Blanis.
Lannis to serve
Thank you.
the board representative on the Clackamas River Water Supply Commission. And how long is that appointment for?
It'll be till we do our next round of appointments in July.
Okay, that was one. Okay, just wondering.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 o'clock. And we're meeting out at the Sunrise, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming Monday, March 13th.
127.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of all the order before I adjourn the meeting? In that case, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.